All right, we're back. Another episode of the Going Five Hole podcast.
All right, we're
The
back.
reboot. All right, so the Eastern Conference. If you watched our previous video, we broke down all the non-playoff teams. So now we'll talk about the teams that are good. So we're not just talking about shit the whole time.
Yeah, no, nobody wants to be depressed.
No, like all those teams. So as we said, 12 teams per conference. So the East. So we'll quickly, before we get into the play-in matchups, just the top four,
the best of the best, some would say.
which if you told me before the season what the top four in the East would be, I'd probably believe it, except for I wouldn't have put the Flyers there.
Yeah, no, they had a great year, man.
Who knew, man? AV coming in to coach, I thought that team was doomed.
AV with young players on his team.
Dude,
what? No Tanner Glass.
It smelt disaster for me, like going in. Like I thought he was like the team. And listen, we obviously all can't stand the Flyers. It's no secret. We're all Rangers, but we're not going to deny that the Flyers have talent on the team.
Great, and they didn't even get great production from some of their guys like Gostisbehere.
No,
they didn't even get great production from him, and they still had a great year.
No, but you figure like they finished 89 points in 69 games. That's way better than like I would have guessed 69 points in 69 games for the Flyers. Not just,
but is that the AV effect? Because this seems to be AV's track record.
True. First year on the Rangers, they went to a Cup final. I'm not saying that's happening here, but and then for again, same in Vancouver before that. Maybe not. I don't know if his first year was when they went to the Cup in 2010.
I'm just
early
on. What was it? The year 2000. Was it the first year or the second year? First year or second year? I can't remember. But
no, for Vancouver, I can't remember. I know the Rangers, it was his first. They made the Cup.
Yeah. So you look at it this way. I mean, first and foremost, it looks after so goddamn long, they finally, I think, have found a goaltender.
Go figure.
Carter Hart. I mean, I didn't think Carter Hart was going to be anything special. Granted, I don't know a ton about the kid, but what I saw in the World Juniors, he was okay. He was pretty good. But I mean, man, he's been so rock solid.
But it's just man. I mean, and thank God he's been good, because if he wasn't good, you trust Brian Elliott?
No. I mean, Brian Elliott's another one of those types of guys that like has had a couple good years, but he's always a 1A. He's never just a 1.
Right, exactly.
And I like Brian. I think Brian Elliott was good, especially when he was with St. Louis. But I mean, you look at this team, and I mean, they play the typical AV style: hard breakout, long breakout pass, outskate you, outscore you, play decent defense. I mean, and then rely on your goaltender to bail you out, and they do. I mean, just looking at their defense, guys like Provorov, Sanheim, those guys are being good for years to come. And I mean, Gostisbehere, if they can get him right back on the right track.
I know.
I want to say he was starting to get there towards the end of the year, but I'm not entirely sure. And I mean, they're just studded up front, man. This is these. It feels like these guys have been around. It feels like Giroux's been around forever. Couturier's been around forever. Who might win the Selke this year? He had that good of a year.
Yeah.
And I mean, Voracek, and then they got JVR back, and then obviously Kevin Hayes, because he's a stud. He's worth every penny they paid for him. But yeah, I mean, I think it has a lot to do with the coaching, man. And like I said, man, I think I don't know if they'll do damage in the playoffs this year, but
yeah. Well, especially like you said, if you need the goaltender to bail you out anytime. I mean, I say it, even though St. Louis won the Cup last year with Jordan Binnington as a rookie goaltender.
Yeah, but St. Louis played a different style. That AV style never really translated because they played the Kings and they got overwhelmed.
Right. It's one of those, like, I don't want to say like, oh, will a rookie goaltender in the playoffs be, end up being a non-factor, not to sound hypocritical, because a rookie goaltender won a Cup last year.
Right. I mean, the only thing that I think that might take them with the AV system is he finally now, I think he had it more so in Vancouver, finally has like these big name players like Voracek and Giroux who can rise to the occasion. So I think that's like the wild card factor there, because when he was with the Rangers, I mean, he had Nash, but like other than that, these guys they're like maybe 50-point guys if they were lucky. Like,
I know.
Like Stepan is not like, you know what I mean, guys like that. But
Right.
anyway, let's move on because like
Yeah.
we said before.
And then it was kind of like, I mean, I don't, I mean, I feel like when the later playoff rounds come, like we don't really need, like we get it. Like we know what Boston is, we know what Tampa is, and we know what the Washington Capitals are. Like
yes,
as the top three, like, okay, Washington, okay, like it's obviously Ovechkin has a lot to do with it, but it's not just Ovechkin.
No, but I mean,
Right.
they finally now have more than one option, especially
Yeah.
down the middle with Kuznetsov, and they added Kovalchuk, which
Who's for a
good
for a top, bottom six guy that they want him to be.
And John Carlson this year is having a Norris Trophy kind of year. John Carlson has been outstanding.
Yeah.
They added, who was it? I mean, Dmitry Orlov has been good for them, and they added, what was it, Jensen at the deadline?
Yeah.
2 years ago, and he's been great. I mean, he's been like a second pair, third pair kind of guy, but he's fantastic for them. And then they got Brendan Dillon. I mean, my thing, we know what this team is going to be. Everything's, for the most part, it's my now is the goaltending. It's kind of sounds strange because Samsonov is a young kid, and he's going to be a great goaltender for years to come in this league. But first playoffs, like you said, it is a crapshoot. And does Braden Holtby have it left in the tank? I mean, and
probably maybe they're one of these teams that benefits from the time off they've had. Guys heal up, guys are fresh. Right. Maybe, I mean, maybe it's, maybe some of these older goaltenders. Like, I mean, I didn't really want to discuss it because I don't want to generalize the team now. But is there any team in the East that benefits from the 3 months, or by the time it starts, the 4 months they're going to have off?
There's definitely a couple teams because you think about the injuries and
right. I mean, I would say the Rangers are one. Just
Carolina too. They get Dougie Hamilton back.
Right.
I mean,
right.
The time, like you said, if anybody has big injuries, yes, but I don't think I don't think it like kills momentum. I mean, it's gonna kill momentum for everybody if you believe in that. But like, which I do. But I don't know. That's just my main question with them. You know what it is. Ovechkin's a monster. They're deep on the front and the back. They play heavy with guys like Wilson, and it just, which is sort of kind of a nice segue into the next team, Tampa Bay. Now, good news for them, cannot be swept in the first round this year
because they're automatically in the second round.
Yeah, that's Tampa.
I mean,
and Tampa voted no against it too, which is like the funniest thing.
I know. Like, are they going to come into the playoffs like pissed? Like, are they pissed off about last year? Like, chip on their shoulder from last year? Because like obviously you saw it.
How do you not? Like, how do you not? Like, it's they.
But like, what? I mean, how? I mean, but I mean, everyone figured they were a shoo-in for at least making the Cup final last year, and then they get swept and kind of the whole playoff blows up. But I mean, where are they at this year? They still, obviously, you're top two in the conference. You're considered a Cup favorite still, but I mean, does Tampa have enough?
All right, I was waiting to break this out. I have the odds right now from, I forgot where, but it's on the picture. The Stanley Cup final, the Stanley Cup odds. I just gotta find it really quick. Mm-hmm. But here it is. This is from Sportsline. So you're the gambler here. I don't know if that's a reliable source or not.
Yeah, probably.
So starting from the top, Tampa Bay, 17.9% probability. Washington, 10.8. Colorado, 10.4. Boston, 9.8. Rangers, 8.4. St. Louis, 6.9. Philly, 5.8. Vegas, 4.9. Toronto, 4.5. Edmonton, 4. Vancouver, 2.9. Nashville, 2.9. Minnesota, 2.9. Florida, 2.4. Pittsburgh 1.7, Carolina 1.1, Winnipeg 1, and then less than 1%. You have Arizona, Dallas, Calgary, Chicago, Montreal, the Islanders, and the Blue Jackets. Now, 17.9%. That's a big favorite.
Yeah,
because that's 7 points more than the next team. Yeah. And like, I guess I see it. Maybe the thing with them this year is I wonder if, not held back, but last year they were so gung-ho, like with the 62 wins. Maybe this year they were a little more reserved, and now they know, like, listen, we can't let that happen again.
Right.
I mean, on paper, they got the best back end with McDonough, with Sergachev, with Hedman. They just have a great defense, and then Vasilevsky's a decent player. And then up front, they're just loaded with talent. And And they got bigger this year. They signed guys like Patrick Maroon, and they signed Blake Coleman, and
yeah, there's a little more. There's more toughness. There's more toughness this year than last year.
Yes,
They're
I think they realized. Right, I think they realized, especially against Columbus.
I was going to say they ran into the worst possible matchup. Exactly. Take away the roster. It's a John Tortorella coach team that doesn't
they're heavier.
The styles clash, and that's what happens. A lot of times, the tougher team can find a way to win, which they did last year, just overwhelmingly.
It just you thought the talent enough would have been you kind of thought going in there that you're like maybe they're not great for the playoffs, but you just thought talent alone. And I think a lot of people have harped on that for a while, and I don't even – that's a beating a dead horse at this point. But lastly, you have the Bruins, who once again are just there again every year. And
they're so good. Core. They're you just from everything. Just Tuukka Rask is still good. Like that.
Well,
Halak
is too. I mean,
they have two solid guys. At goal, because a lot of times, you could have the talent, maybe your goaltending's issue. They don't have a weakness, roster wise. It's not there for me.
No, I mean Chara's still good. Brendan Carlo's a very underrated player. Grzelcyk's good. I mean, they just all McAvoy's good. I mean, John Moore's on this team, which I still
know it's really good.
But I mean, that first line, man, that first line is just deadly. It's the best. In an age where teams don't have line combinations longer than a game, the fact that line has stuck together, and they're just great. I mean, David Pastrnak has been an absolute epiphany for that team, and I mean, everybody knew he was good, but not this.
But I mean, he's really an incredible year. I mean, 95 points in 70 games,
and they just replaced too, because I mean, they go out and they sign Charlie Coyle, who was great for them and is great for them, fits that team perfectly. But then they go out and then they have guys like Anders Bjork, and then Nick Ritchie comes to them in a signing or a trade. I can't remember exactly, but I mean, even guys like Marchand is still they're still good for so many years, and it's crazy to me. I mean, that team is deep. I always picked them every year to win, and I just think it's because of the style they play. Maybe this year is the year. I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? But they are buying away. Behind on paper. I just think that this team, with the style they play and how they play, I think they should be the favorite to win this year. But I say that every year, so who knows?
I know. And then somehow they find a way to lose second round series. I don't. But again, I mean, but all right. I mean, whatever. That's the top four
or the Stanley Cup last
year.
But
listen, the top four. Yeah. The top four. They don't have to play yet. They don't play for a while. They get to hang out and watch all the play-in round. So as we've discussed, you have your 5 through 12 team. So
before we do this, since there's never really been a first round bye in hockey, it's not a thing. And I know in football and stuff, sometimes teams catch fire and they catch momentum. You think that's going to be the case here? Because I know Tampa voted against it, but I don't know if that was the reasoning. For me, it depends on who you get. I feel because you could have a team that just starts. It comes out the gate
that's what
red hot, and then you're the whatever you match up with them, and you've been sitting at home, and then you got to go from 0 to 100.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've seen it when a team sweeps and then they're sitting around waiting for that 7-game series to finish, and then they're flat.
Right.
I don't know if it happens here, just because I feel like you have to look at this 5-game play-in as not. It's obviously it's not preseason level. It's the postseason, but is it going to be at a preseason level? Because these guys just haven't played in 3. You're not getting a lot of time to prepare. You're not what are they? You're going to get 2 exhibition games before the play-in game starts. Is that what they said? Or are they just going straight? I thought they were going to have.
I thought they were going to go. I thought they were going to go straight into it.
I thought I read each team got 2 exhibition games to kind of skate it out, but that's not a lot of time to go right into.
But I don't even think that. I don't know. I don't know if I've heard that, but if they did, I just didn't read it. But how could you do that? Because God forbid you get an injury or something like that.
I know, but I just think you can come back.
But just look at it this way: you say the Penguins, right? Penguins are the 5 seed, right? They just blow Montreal's doors off,
which.
They match up with, say, the lowest seeded team, Philly. Yep. Philly hasn't done anything. The Penguins have just played 3 games.
Right.
I almost look at it yes, you're in the second round, but I don't know. I guess it depends on how you play in that play-in round,
Right. And let's start right there because, on paper,
great segue. Great.
So the
segue.
So very professional around here.
I'm going to go ride my Segway because that was just so amazing. Anyway.
So you got the 5th seed Pittsburgh Penguins play the 12th seed Montreal. If there's one team in this playoff that for me probably just in general doesn't belong, like out of the whole fucking league, not even here. For me, it's Montreal because I don't think they were not good.
The 12th seed, so.
But they're 24 out of 24 out of if you want to break it down like that.
So many issues, but
on paper,
as long as Carey Price is there, they have a chance. As long as Carey Price is there, they have a chance. And defensively, they're okay. I mean, they have, Weber's good. Weber's still can compete, and Jeff Petrie is actually a very underrated player. Right. But like the problems are up front with them.
I was gonna say who's scoring.
They don't have a number one center.
Maybe your one argument could be yes, you have Carey Price, but then you have not so great goaltending in Pittsburgh, whether it's Matt Murray or
Tristan
Jarry. Like whether it's one of them who, if they don't play as good as they probably should, does Montreal have a chance? But like you said, if goal scoring is an issue, who cares who the
I'll be honest with you, if Montreal was getting a matchup, I mean, there could have been better, but I mean, it's a decent matchup for them because they have Carey Price obviously in the back end, which Carey Price are you going to get?
Right.
Is also sort of like the thing.
But that's where I just think like I know Pittsburgh's been slipping the last couple of years, but anytime
they're still a good dude. Once again, as long as they have Crosby, as long as they have Malkin, they're getting Gensel back, I believe.
They should
from injury. I mean, and they're just a good team. They added now I can't remember his name at the deadline from Minnesota. Can't remember his name. I'll look right now. Zucker.
Oh yeah.
At the deadline,
Zucker,
which is a great move because now he can play with Crosby. That top line is probably going to be he could go down and put in Malkin because now that you're getting Gensel back, you get Gensel, Crosby, and Rust or vice versa. Like who knows? Like that they're so good in the top 6 that I don't see how Montreal, even with Carey Price, I just don't see it because where are you getting the goals from for the Canadians? Because that's been their issue all year.
Right.
And who are you going to match up with Crosby? Because what are you going to like Philip Deneau? Like, come on, man. It's not. I mean, he's a good player, but he's not Crosby.
No, that's why. Yeah, I think Pittsburgh. This probably has the biggest 3-0 series.
This to me has sweep written all over it.
I mean, and even whatever 3-0, 3, whatever you want to call it. I think Pittsburgh moves on. Like this one's no doubt.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, maybe like you said, the back end of Pittsburgh. I just think it could be a track meet, and I still think.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, I think even if you take 6 traffic cones and throw them out there for the 3rd and 4th line, I think Pittsburgh still has a chance. Like,
yeah, no, me too. I agree. I think this is going to genuinely. I think this will be a sweep, if not 3-1. I really do. Which is weird to say, but that's 5-game series.
5, right? Yeah, it is what it is.
What we got next up on the docket?
Let's move into the 6 v11 matchup, which I think that on paper this might be like
we got an upset brewing.
Is it really an upset? I mean, I know it's technically is, but so you have the.
Obviously I want the Rangers to win, and I don't want to get too in deep with this because
no. Because
spoiler alert, we're going to be doing a full Rangers season recap, and we'll get into the playoff matchup, but. Yeah. I just want to see because the Hurricanes pissed and moaned about this format. Anybody.
But like, what were there? Like I said, before I've said previously, what better could you come up with than this? You want to go straight to 16 teams? That's not fair either.
It's just
what did you want?
You had to have come up with something, and I think that this is and like I said before in the previous episode, I like it. Even if the Rangers went in it, I like it. I do like it.
I agree. I agree. But like on paper, and again, we said which teams would benefit from this break. You look at the Rangers getting Chris Kreider back.
And then probably Dougie Hamilton.
Exactly. Maybe the Rangers getting 100%. And now I guess which you have 3. Well, I'll say 2. I hate when people say the 3 goalies. Who are you starting in game 1 for the Rangers?
Honestly, I think you gotta. My gut says Hank, but Igor has been so good all year. How do you not start him?
And it's
And like
think,
you don't want to get into then the pissing contest of, all right, well, Hank lost this game. Let's go to Igor now. Because either way, I don't care. Whoever you pick, I don't care if it's Igor. I don't care if it's Hank. You need to get those guys in a rhythm because you don't want to then throw Igor to the fire. I honestly think they're going to go with Hank. He's fresh, and he's got his track record against the Carolina Hurricanes is unbelievable. I think Igor is the better goalie now, but I still think Hank.
It is, and I think any other coach would start Hank, but I think because it's not me. I know I knocked David Quinn a lot in the past when we've like chatted, but it's not me knocking David. It's not me knocking David Quinn. It's just his track record all season has been to play anybody but Hank. Hank in his mind is the number 3 goalie.
True.
And that's what I think Igor gets. I think for game one, whether or not
Igor gets it, but my gut says I think Hank might be the better option.
And I get it, and I don't want to make it all about like the Henrik Lundqvist farewell tour because you're trying to win a cup. This isn't. Like
I don't give a shit about that, and the Rangers don't give a shit about that.
No, they don't.
He stayed. He had an out. He stayed. Yep. So. Listen, who knows at this point? But listen, this is good. This is good material for the next time. Okay.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we'll leave it at that.
What do you think with the Hurricanes? I have to ask you.
I mean, look, they're a good team. They were clearly a good team last year, and the talent's there.
The one thing that scares me about this is the way they play versus the way the Rangers do. The Rangers are very, it's tape to tapes and very on the fly. Whereas the Hurricanes, they put everything on the goddamn net. And in the playoffs, I like that. Not to mention that they probably have some of the best defense in the league. Mm-hmm. Jacob Slavin is probably the most underrated player in the league. Not to mention you're getting a Norris caliber Dougie Hamilton back.
Especially this
They traded for Sammy Vatanen. Say what you want about Brady Shea. On the second or third pair, that's a good thing. You have
it's still good.
Pesci probably still coming back, and then you have Joel Edmondson. That is top to bottom good. One of the best defensemen.
That's better. I mean that's better than what a lot of teams throw out there. That's better than what the Rangers throw out at defense for sure.
But then you look in the back end. Are you really with Peter Mrazek or Jimmy Reimer? Are you really?
I'm not that confident. And they're going to get. I mean, those guys will all be back from their fully recovered from injuries as well. Because you figure the forgotten story of now I'm forgetting his name, but that emergency backup that beat the Leafs.
Oh
the Zamboni driver. Forgetting his name.
David Ayers.
Yeah. But like, I mean, so you figure like they had injuries kind of going into the shutdown. They're at least getting their goalies back. How good they are,
they're good up front too, man. Sebastian Aho, Ryan Dzingel. Nice. I mean, Nino Niederreiter, Svechnikov is really turned to Teuvo Teravainen. They traded for Vinny Trocheck. I still think offensively the Rangers are better because you have Panarin and you have Zibanejad because Panarin is just ungodly this year.
Panarin should be a Hart Trophy candidate. He won't be. But if you take Panarin off this Rangers team, the Rangers don't make this 2014 format.
Correct. So right now, because we're taking too long with this, and I knew we were going to do this.
Yeah, of course.
What do you think? This goes 5 games to me. It has to.
I think it's the most exciting series on paper.
Oh yeah, by far.
Out of all 8 matchups,
because the teams are even and they know each other. I mean, the only thing that scares me too is that the Rangers are 4-0 against them, and a couple of those games they didn't play well, but they got great goaltending. So I hate to say I like Carolina 3-2, and it kills me to say that, but. It's just the style they play, and I'm a pessimist, and as you know, I think we're both pretty much the same thing. Yeah. I just think that the style they play coming back cold, I think translate better than the Rangers because the Rangers got off to such a slow start this year.
I know. I'm gonna flip it and say Rangers 3-2 simply because even I feel like yes, they could get hurt because how many games did they come out flat? They're down 2-0 in the first 10 minutes, and then they're playing like shit, but. I will say one of the things that this team's had that they haven't in previous years is a hell of a lot more fight and the ability to come back and cut.
They've also got the star power. the star power,
I
too.
think, and not to make it like basketball. My thought is always, if you have the best player, you're probably going to win. I know that's not the case in hockey, but
Exactly.
I just think like there were so many games where you're down, and then like Panarin or Zibanejad just finds a way to do something.
Well, the 5-goal game that Zibanejad had is like perfect example. I think
That
that's what they've
was
lacked in the past. I really do. I don't think they're there yet to where
No.
they're going to compete,
right.
but they have that star power that can take over a game that they haven't had in the past. And I think this, like you said, I think it's going to be interesting, man. But we should move on because I'm going to talk about this all day. If
I know.
we don't.
Yeah, we'll save it. Please join us for future stuff when we'll get into it. All right.
Other people.
So the third matchup, the number 7 seed New York Islanders against the number 10 seed Florida Panthers. I don't like to. Neither of us like to praise the Islanders that much, but I don't think this series is that close because I don't see Florida competing that well. I just think
I agree. I think that there is the X factor here that maybe we're not talking about. How does Sergei Bobrovsky play? Because he's had a bad year.
Yeah. Big signing for Florida too. They really were hoping to get something, and it's just it didn't translate. I mean, look, we know his abilities there.
Of course,
we know how good he's been in the past, especially maybe not big time playoff runs for Columbus, but we've seen the seasons, we've seen the Vezina quality seasons from Bobrovsky. But I feel like even if he plays well. I do. Again, I think the Islanders are way too talented, and they have a fucking awesome coach, dude. Like the fact that
man.
Right, like the fact that they even were like that Washington, and granted, Washington's been fine, but the fact that Washington didn't keep Barry Trotz after winning the cup I thought was a little weird. And then so the Islanders really lucked out, considering whoever the fuck they've had in prior years. I'm forgetting all their coaches.
Capuano. Yeah. Or was it or Milbury?
Listen, the Islanders franchise has turned itself around, obviously, as much as it pains me to say that. But the thing with me with this is it's an interesting matchup because you have two teams that don't have. I mean, Bobrovsky is by name value a good goalie, but has not got great goaltending on paper. They play that defensive style of the Islanders, so they've gotten good goaltending. But towards the end of this, right before the shutdown, they weren't playing well. They were not playing well. And I think maybe this shutdown may have helped them in an inverse way by saying, yeah, man, we got to just regroup. And, I mean, you look at the Panthers up front. They've got the star power. They got the Barkovs. They've got the Huberdeaus. They've got the Ekblads. I think, which is interesting because then you look inversely at the Islanders, very defensive-minded team. And what was their issue all year? They can't score. And a lot of people like the JG Pat Joe signing, but at the same time too, they were not. Matt Barzal he's not getting any help, and
right.
It'll be interesting, that series. I really do. I think people may think that this is going to be Islanders easy. I don't necessarily think so.
I mean, not easy. I think the Islanders are tougher. I think they'll overpower Florida way more.
I think so too. I think this is another 5-game series, and I'll take the Islanders. I'll take the Islanders in 5 games.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not giving Florida enough credit, but I don't know.
It's tough because it's a team you don't hear a lot about.
I know. Well, I mean,
and Barkov is a legitimate superstar in this.
No, he is, but no, I'll say I like the Islanders in 4 rather than 5, but I think the Islanders move on.
I think if Bobrovsky steps up and is his normal self, I think you can see I think you'll see Florida take that, but in 5 games as well. But that's the X factor to me. And I don't know, who knows? But like you said, also too, you need this X factor right there, Barry Trotz, man. I like Barry Trotz in pretty much any situation.
Exactly.
Being honest.
Right. And then, all right, let's quickly do the last East matchup. It's the 8th seed Toronto Maple Leafs and the 9th seed. Hey, did you see that we're a playoff caliber team without Artemi Panarin, Columbus Blue Jackets?
Hey, you should. Yeah, it's just like talking about how you don't care about your ex, but you do care about your ex.
Exactly.
So we don't need you. We don't need you. Yeah,
sure about that?
It would have helped.
Yeah.
This is an interesting series for me because my gut says right away Columbus.
because
That gut says right away.
you've watched Toronto underperform with this insane roster. I don't know how a team with
It's so top heavy though. It's
like
so
I get it, but like Frederick Anderson's still a good goalie. So the fact, and I know if your defense leaves you out to dry, like you can only get so much
he's
help.
coming back too, which is the good thing
Right.
too.
But for me, it's just like how and it's sad that the fact that you immediately say Columbus against the team, because we just said with Pittsburgh and Montreal that for Pittsburgh, as long as you have Crosby and Malkin, you're fine.
Right.
But you look at this Toronto team with Tavares, Matthews, Marner, just those three guys alone, you would think, okay, the talent's there to overpower a lot of teams, and they're the 8th seed in the East. Like
it's crazy how they've hit on every single one of their like draft picks, because it's almost become like a negative for them because they have the top end talent, but like they just can't find any depth scoring. And
And who knew?
I actually saw them play live this year. So I saw them play the Rangers. It was the one game I actually got down to, and they were out skating the crap out of the Rangers, and the Rangers just decided to get heavy with them. And the minute that happened, that team just backed off and wanted nothing to do with it.
Right. No, they definitely lack toughness, which again is why we'll take the John Tortorella team, no matter who's on the roster, just based on that. Like we said, Barry Trotz was the X factor for the Islanders in that series. I think it's John Tortorella here. Like I said earlier, like when we were talking about Tampa, we said, why did Columbus do so well?
Well, you also got to look too. I mean, Columbus, through all their, like by committee type of deal, they're getting outstanding goaltending at every level. I mean, Korpisalo, I believe, is coming back. He's having a great year, but Merzlikins was unbelievable when he came in, and that could be something too. I mean, Freddie Anderson is good, but Freddie Anderson, I don't think is somebody who Freddie Anderson, he throughout, even with his break and him getting hurt and stuff, he gets more starts than any goaltender in the league. And I mean, eventually that's going to catch up to him. And can he play at the same pace as it sounds strange? Can Freddie Anderson keep up with Korpisalo and Merzlikins? But Merzlikins was unbelievable when he came in. I mean, who gets the start for Columbus? I don't know.
It's a toss-up.
This is actually more tough. I mean, because you have Tavares, who plays well in the playoffs. Man, he took over that one series for the Islanders when they finally won a series. My gut says Columbus, but I think Toronto's going to take it, man. Just because Columbus up front, who's scoring for them? I just don't. Bjorkstrand's good. Cam Atkinson's decent, but like, they're not a Tavares. They're not a Marner. They're not a Matthews. They're not a Nylander. I'm going to say
they have like a better version of the Montreal roster makeup going.
Right. Exactly. Right. I mean, Columbus's back end is ridiculous too, with Seth Jones, who's coming back from injury, and then you have Werenski, Nudavara is very good, Savard's very good. Like, I don't know. I'm going to go on a limb here, and I'm going to say Toronto in 5. It's going to be close, and the games they do lose are going to be ugly, but I think Toronto squeaks it out.
Right. I think for me, like I'm going to take Toronto just because, like, I think last year, like, I know Columbus rolled them, but like you still had Panarin on that team. But I feel like I just think missing that. It just in the playoffs, if they have I mean, it's a what if, but like if Columbus has Panarin,
look how they played the Rangers this year though. They like dominated the game, but they couldn't put the puck in the net.
Exactly, and I think Toronto in like I know say what you want about their issues, but in just a vacuum like that in like a 5-game series, like it's hard to bet against them again. I'll say 4. I know if Columbus gets the good goaltending, then they might shock everybody and steal another series like that. But I don't think it happens. Like Toronto, especially those top guys, are too good to lose a series. Like I don't think Toronto gets very far. I think they get past this and that's it. Especially if they're as the 8th seed, you're going to play one of those top teams.
It's strange because like my gut is telling me I think it's either going to be Toronto in 5 or Columbus in 3, which is like a very weird thing. But like,
but it's true.
I genuinely think that. I really think that.
It's true. Also, I mean, for what it's worth, maybe Toronto's a team that benefits from just not having home games and no And I mean, I'm sure there won't be as much media, so maybe they're a team that benefits from just not having all
Right.
that
Yeah.
pressure
You
in
know,
front of
too.
you.
Yeah. You're right. And it's crazy. I know we're Americans, obviously. And I know anybody in Canada who is this is going to shit all over me, especially my boy Jay. Shout out to him. #1 OG fan from back in the day.
This is
Back
true.
in the day.
This is true.
One of our first Twitter followers, and we're still friends to this day, even though we've never met that guy. One of the nicest dudes you will ever meet.
Yeah.
But he'll kill me for saying this. I wouldn't mind Toronto doing well because once, like, if Toronto, I would like to see it. Not, especially because Matthews is there. But, like, at the same time, too, when, like, the center of the hockey world is doing well, the sport's doing well. And, like, it's an original six team. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to actively go rooting for them, but if the Rangers go out and they're still there, I'd probably root for them. So, whatever. Sorry.
Yeah, listen, we'll see what it is. But that matchup, that kind of wraps up the East. So, yeah, man, join us on episode 3. We'll break down the West. Holy, dude, we're back. Holy shit. Going 5 whole podcasts. The reboot is back.
Holla at your boys.